Alright, fellas, here we're back on our Pokemon Masters video. We got ourselves the overview for, what's her face? Academy Iris. Yeah, I wanted to say Arc Suit Iris so bad just because we want Arc Suit Iris, right? But it's Academy Iris. Yeah, sure, I guess. They share a few letters in the name, you know, A and C. AC, yep. Okay. Anyway, so how is Academy Iris doing? Support field. I don't know how I feel about this unit. I I think I think a lot of the niches that she tries to play are mostly filled by other characters. She can definitely perform, and I'm sure well, she definitely does have abilities that are unique to her. But it's like, are those abilities unique enough to justify going for her over another character, especially if you already have a character? I don't think Iris is one of those units. If we want to talk about just big elephant in the room, newest game mode, newest OP game mode, right? Or like newest game mode, like in terms of beating content. Uh, just being blunt, I don't think ice is a type that can do its 30th stage. Physical ice is already kind of struggling a little bit. I mean, Signature End's not bad. Yeah, Signature End can kind of cook, but ice is a type that does not have its arc suit. It does have this guy who does the rebuff of an arc suit, but he is very lackluster against any special damage dealing canceling stages, and he also does not have the ice passive like other arc suits do, right? So he is missing that, though he does have a master passive to make up for it, but again, it's a special master passive, so those other ice type units will not, those physical ice type units will not be benefiting as much. But it is also importantly, it does not have its EX Ice Zone setter. I thought Iris, when I first saw her and saw that she was an ice type, like in the Datamine, I thought she would have been the Ice Zone setter, EX Ice Zone setter, but they just didn't make that the case. They just didn't do it. And just again, going back to my initial point, like, does Iris help out with the team being able to beat the 30th stage, or like the highest level stages of the ice Passio Tower? She can, but she's not really a better option, I don't think, than Grusha. Grusha's able to set Ice Zone with his trainer move here. Pretty sure he's got extra sets of it as well. Yeah, he's got Trainer Sync Redemption right here. That gives him extra sets there. And he's got this Ice Zone extension and First Sync Ice Zone. This is going to make Grusha a lot better of an option for Ice when it finally does get its EX Ice Zone setter. Eriott will be fine as well, but Eriott is extremely lacking in the fact that where's Eriott? She only sets Ice Zone twice, I believe, and then I guess technically another instance on entry, but if the X Ice Zone setter doesn't set on entry either, then this is useless, right? This is Hail Alert, but like Arctic Arrival, right? Eriott is a character that her 5 out of 5 and 4 out of 5 could certainly save her, I'm sure, but she got super screwed over by her EX role being support over field, and also by not getting like sync burst or anything in the grid. So we can hope that Eriott gets saved by her 5 out of 5 and 4 out of 5 tiles, or a potential Tower Lucky Cookie. But otherwise, your main Ice Zone setter is probably going to end up having to be Grusha until we get, even after we get the EX Ice Zone setter, because he is the best character to kind of assist with that, especially if you do have him at 10 out of 5 investment here, where he can actually make use of this Ice Zone extension and first sync move set Ice Zone a lot better. And I think that's just going to be the biggest case probably with the Passio Tower, because you can also correct me if I'm wrong here, please do. I think Passio Tower healing and damage reduction and overall bulk only matter as long as you can make it to the second enemy sync move once they gain the super serious passive after that, because after that, a lot of the fight becomes flinch, freeze, sleep. I don't think they cancel evasion, so evasion as well, meaning just natural bulk like healing up, debuffing offenses, buffing defenses. You know, unless you do a crap load of that and you have damage reduction passes, you got a crap load of HP, you know, stuff like that, like where you can actually take 3 to 4 times boosted hyper beams and stuff. You're gonna probably just not care much about the bulk. So in that case, Grusha's lack of like insane healing and stuff like that, as long as he gets the enemy to or gets your team to that second sync move, he's gonna be fine. Iris, she's got healing, and I think she will also not struggle in that regard. But Grusha's big thing is that he sets Ice Zone as well. If we're gonna go over Iris's kit in a bit, but she only sets Ice Zone once with the field sync, and then other than that, it's the Unova Circle. So I think that Grusha is just going to be significantly more valuable to have on those teams because he's providing himself, he's providing Ice Zone consistently for the team, whereas Iris only provides it once. She does provide the circle again, but Grusha's got so much more of a consistent setting of Ice Zone, right? I think that's my biggest thing with Grusha here. He's also got utility like single target flinch and freeze, where Iris does also have freeze utility, but I believe it's locked to AoE if you use this move, but it can't be single target if you use Ice Beam. Anyway, those are my biggest comparisons between her on that game mode. Otherwise, a lot of general content, you can very easily make a major comparison between her and Champion Rosa. She is a Unova, like, I want to say focus support. She's not necessarily Unova focus. She can buff characters, I guess, like Signusu N, though only really if he's doing Ice Beam damage, because this is a special circle. And of course, she has Ice Zone as well. But like Fall Chantal is a good benefit or ever. She exists as well. Variety Hilbert is not a bad one either, but most of these characters is like that's very minor buffs that they gain comparatively to just running. If you want to run a Unova support, Champion Rose is there, right? This character's got the Flag Bearer Unova passive, making her versatile between both physical and special attackers, as well as having some physical and special damage reduction. Not really on sync moves, but it is good for just general damage. She's got a lot more moves on next enhancement. She's got potions for healing. She's got the same type of disruption utility with Sing. So in this case, I just like Rosa a bit better as a generalist Unova support, where Iris is good, but still can easily be replaced by Rosa and does not do much different outside of Rosa. That's kind of my just general like first thoughts of Iris, and mostly just like thinking about how she looks like after the fact. But let's go ahead and take a look at her kit. I know I've been stalling a while. This is a 7 minutes in. I haven't even looked at the character's kit. I've been telling you why she's like not good or something. I don't know. Looking at 6-star EX level 150, this is like the minimum investment I'm going to start doing because we've got level 180 and 200 now. We've got EX rolls. I think we're just going to start going with this as the investment that people should be looking at. 807 HP, 358 defense, 373 special defense. These are solid bulk stats. They are not going to really give you any struggles. 348 speed is good as well. Bad offenses, but she doesn't really need them. And of course, level 180, like every other character, it's still hard to kind of comprehend how helpful, well, not like how helpful it is, because it's obviously very helpful, right? But it's more so how difficult it is to kind of comprehend all these buffs that these characters get from 180 and like relative to how that impacts like enemy content, because this just makes her look a lot better. I mean, 900 HP, 406 defense, 421 special defense. These are very solid defensive stats. Nearly 400 speed. Still not good offensive stats, but still. And then of course you can go even higher investment. Field EX roll, giving her even more bulk, more HP, more speed. I think, can she break 1,000? Yeah, she breaks 1,000 HP at level 200 if you do give that investment to her. And 458 defenses, 473 special defenses. These are good defensive stats, or just good stats in general. The special attack, not great, but she doesn't really need it. It's fine. So, obviously, a character that doesn't lack in the stats department. She's got Ice Beam, 10% chance to freeze. This is enhanced in the grid, but for now, mostly just spammable, unless you get stupid lucky. Unova analysis. This sets the Unova special circle, which is a maximum of a 40% special attack buff and special damage buff, and then 14% special damage reduction, with a minimum baseline, I believe, of like 8%, I believe, for damage reduction, like 20% probably for damage. Yeah, buffs by 10%, and the more Unova allies, she counts as a Unova ally, so it's a 20% minimum power buff, and I believe 8% minimum special damage reduction for having the Unova analysis up. Breezy Blizzard is a 2-use buddy move here. It's 180 power, hits all enemies, no accuracy checks, activates when there is the circle applied, deactivates when there is no circle applied, so got to be careful about using this around the circle and stuff like that. Never misses, 50% chance of freezing. This isn't even guaranteed, actually. Okay. Power and chance of applying additional effects if they're of this move are not lower if there are multiple targets. Applies super effective next to all allies. Applies increases special moves next to allies by 2. Yeah, I mean, this is solid enhancement just in general. You could definitely make good use of her as a damage challenge support, for sure. She doesn't have anything spammable, but this ability to freeze for disruption, apply super effective next, and special moves next is pretty good. You are going to miss out some time, though, so I'm not really sure how useful it can be comparatively to some other characters, right? So it seems like it's solid, though. Super effective next. Outside of damage challenge, I mean, yeah, Nita, like, it's gonna be good for that fight if you bring the appropriate characters, but you don't really need the help in that fight, given that a lot of the special attackers you may run her with, like Champion Red, I mean, Senna, even Eriott, like they perform already extremely well, even without the enhancement of the circle and this stuff. So it's just like going to be even more of like fodderizing the stage. Could make it a little bit easier for some other characters to do it. I mean, I wouldn't think Variety Hilbert would struggle. Chantal doesn't really struggle so long as you have another damage dealer. Anyway, whatever. We won't lose. 1 usage restores HP values by 40% of their max, removes status conditions in flinch, confusion, and trap, applies gradual healing to all allies, and raises allies' water rebuff by 2. This is probably to go along with Lapras's water absorbability. I believe Lapras gets it. Anyway, this is a good trainer move. Only issue is that you only get one of it. You can get multiple uses in the grid because of Trainer Sync Redemption, but it's a little bit limiting there, especially because she is a support EX. You're going to tend to sync with her first. And how much damage are you going to be taking within the first, team sync cycle, right? It's a little iffy just for that reason, mostly alone, but it isn't bad. It's not a bad trainer move at all. But this is her, by the way, her primary method of healing. I do think this is going to be very good for carrying her through like the Paseo Tower up to that second enemy sync move. Past that, it's not going to matter. You're mostly going to be relying on dodging, flinching, and stuff, and freezing, which she can do. So I do actually like that for her. Anyway, look at the passive skills here. Her custom lucky skill is not here. I guess Academinas don't get one. Okay, sure. You got people in nature together. Debut Unova Special Circle on the field. Not much else needs to be said. User sets Unova Special Circle. Team defense is up. So this is +2. Yeah, user apply. Okay, so this is +2 defenses on entry, and then another +4 between the 2 uses of this. I'm not a massive fan of abilities like this, where a character's a support's main role for the most part is to take attacks and buff your team. Part of Iris's buffs coming from having to set the circle there, at least especially defensively, is not great to me. This just means it's going to take longer for your team to be at their full defensive capacity, meaning that they're more susceptible to higher damaging attacks earlier on, and obviously we don't really like that. So, but at the very least, she is able to max out the team's defenses, so that is something. A special circle team crit immunity. It's good to have this an ability like this. This just disrupts a lot of stages that do those crit buffs and all that stuff, like setting sure hit or X dire hit all plus, mostly ultimate battles. I might be wrong, but I believe the later stages of the Paseo Tower also do these abilities like dire hit all plus. So having the ability to have team crit immunity is pretty good. And also her setting field, again, setting ice zone, good for the ice team in that regard. But anyway, yeah, so I do like this ability. And then pre-Unova analysis, restore buddy move MP. So she's going to be using her Unova analysis in restoring this. So this gives her pretty much up to 4 uses of the Blizzard, which is good. I do like that she's got a lot of special moves up next enhancement because of the Unova analysis, plus the natural buffs that it provides to the moves and sync moves. It doesn't apply to max moves. Yeah, it doesn't apply to max moves. But also because it gives us extra chances to get moves up next from this, super effective next from this, and also freeze chances. The damage isn't going to be a major thing, but that freeze can be very helpful. My only issue with it mostly is the fact that, frankly, it is AoE. I think it would straight up just be better if this move was selectable and was not hitting all enemies, because a lot of stages have resilience now. If you freeze multiple enemies, especially the ones that you don't want to freeze, then that is wasting chances later for disruption. That is my biggest issue with or one of my bigger issues with this. If you would have just swapped this, honestly, and just made it like a Blizzard as the DPS with like fuel economy or something, so it's not as gauge hungry, and then give her like Ice Beam as the buddy move to where she can then do. Well, also, let's just make it guaranteed freeze. The coin flip is stupid, at least to me. Make it guaranteed freeze, and then you can freeze whatever enemy you want, get moves up next, and super effective next buffs, and also have that good disruption. And again, you have 4 uses of that, right? But overall, I mean, it is still good to be able to get buffs like this. I'm still just not a big fan of having to roll the dice so much on freezing the enemy to begin with, and also having to select the right enemy for you to want to freeze. That's just very, very iffy to me. So overall, as a base, Iris does have a lot of moves up next. She's got some good healing here. The ability to max defenses is good, and team crit immunity. I do like that. And disruption, of course, is very appreciated for sure. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the fact that you cannot select, like, what enemies you want to choose for that disruption. I'm also not a huge fan of the fact that she seems just like kind of way too similar to Champion Rosa, because Champion Rosa is obviously a really good special enhancer as well. She does enhancement of a specific type with Psychic and Fighting, where Iris tries to do like ice and stuff as well. She's Unova support, giving a lot of Unova enhancement. They feel like there's a lot of overlap there. And again, if we want to look at the ice typing, it's most of the time if you're going to look at a specific typing, You can look at characters like you can look at the content like the Paseo Tower, which is literally locking you to a specific type. And in my opinion, in that fight or in that event, with how it is structured, it is better to run Grusha. I could see it being better to run Iris as a support, given her ability to do team healing like effectively, if the content was not also centered around the fact that by the time the enemy uses their second sync move, they are then hitting like a nuclear weapon, right? And, like, I'm telling you, actual nuclear weapon. Like, we saw how people reacted when the Ultimate Battle of Annabelle just dropped, or like initially dropped the first time, like almost 2 years ago. Wow. And it was not good. People were not having a good time with that. It's going to be worse. That's how difficult a lot, like probably the 30th stage is going to be for these different stages, right? And so Iris would be very good in that stage, or very solid, rather, with this good team healing ability for the ice typing, if it wasn't so focused on having you basically beat the enemy before the second sync, or then starting to just go flinch, freeze, and all that stuff, which Grusha does a little bit better because he's got flinch and freeze, and it is single target. So that's my biggest gripe with this character. Also, lack of speed buffs. She doesn't do gauge. No gauge. No gauge at all on this. No offensive buffs, no crit buffs. Sorry, offensive in terms of attack and special attack. Of course, she does special moves on next and super effective next and stuff like that, which is good. All that's good. But no special attack buffs, no attack buffs, no crit buffs. Though she does do that stuff in the grid, so it's not really fair to give her that stuff. Though I don't think her gauge management. Looking at her grid real quick just before I go into it, yeah, her ability to do gauge management is going to be extremely lacking. Like, for herself, it's fine, but for your gauge-heavy, like, allies, it's not going to be that good. Like, N is fine to go for his buddy move, I guess, but you are sacrificing your damage for it, but you probably can't afford to spam free shocks, even if it is every other turn, just because Iris's gauge does not support it. And again, also the fact that Iris is a very special leaning support, where N is a physical attacker. Just one example. Red will be fine. He's a 2-gauge user. At least he should be. Though the team does seem to be pretty susceptible to speed debuffs. Hilbert's probably going to be pretty susceptible if you're not using Powder Snow. If you're going to go for Icy Wind, you're probably going to have some gauge problems. Honestly, getting off the buddy move with, you might see issues with, I Chantal, Fall Chantal. I wanted to call it Candace, definitely not Candace. Speaking of Candace, yeah, you're definitely not going to see a lot of good spam out of that. Point being, at least regarding the ice typing, you're going to have a lot of trouble with gauge for this character, like this team. At least I would imagine. I could be wrong. I could also be wrong. Anyway, at 1 out of 5 looking at her grid, she's got Snow Shelter, nothing crazy. 2 out of 5, Circle Gauge up, Gauge Refresh on her buddy move, Ice Beam Hostile Environment 4, Circle HP Recovery, Circle Attack Move Damage Reduction, Univis set, this one confuses me, Univis, user sets Univis Special Circle, Team Attack up by 2, and Ice Beam Gauge Refresh. Okay. The gauge refresh abilities in the circle move gauge up. This is going to help with her gauge problems. They're not going to completely alleviate it, and it's not really going to be that consistent, other than this being a consistent amount of gauge, I guess. It's not going to be consistently good, though. It is there, so at least she does have gauge stuff. Also, Ice Beam Hostile Environment 4, this is going to be great. Again, if you can play around with these 50% chances to freeze, AoE, non-split chance and stuff like that, like, great, but this is going to be a lot more, this is going to allow you to single out what enemy you want to freeze a lot faster, a lot easier, and a decent chance of doing so. Coin flip. I do like Hostile Environment 4 on Ice Beam. Circle HP Recovery and Circle Attack Move Damage Reduction just keeps some damage reduction for herself and some HP recovery, making her have less of opportunities to have to use this on herself earlier on. So there's a little bit more survivability. It's not bad. And being Circle HP Recovery is very good. It's not locked to Ice Zone, which would be really funny. Now this tile, okay, so she does get special attack buffs at 3 out of 5, and we'll go over that, but I don't know why they didn't just swap these. I feel like if you want to make her a good special enhancer, you would probably swap this to be at 2 out of 5 and then have this at 3 out of 5. I don't know, that might just be me, though. Either way, this isn't really that valuable to run. I mean, sure, there are characters who can't max up their attack or whatever. Maybe it can be helpful and it can be pretty helpful for those characters that just can't buff their attack at all, like very low tier units and stuff like that, like Fricker. I mean, Steven can buff his attack, but you can top it off with this or whatever. Sure, I guess. But I wouldn't really opt to run it. 3 out of 5. Unova Analysis first. Trainer move Sync Countdown. Unova Special Circle Team moves up. Trainer Sync Redemption. User sets Unova Circle Team Special Attack up. Universe Circle extension, Special Circle extension, Team Underhanded heal, hit status condition opponent stat down, and Ice Beam circle hit, free moves next. Okay. That's a lot of that's a lot of stuff. So more gauge help with Ice Beam, circle hit, free moves next. This is probably going to be a good tile to pick up for her just to help out with that gauge. It helps a bit. I'm not sure how much it'll help overall. Her speed is good, but again, if she's running with those big 4-gauge partners, which honestly, frankly, a lot of them seem to be either Getsus or physical attackers. So I don't know how much you're actually going to really care too much about that. Still funny. Maybe it can be a massive deal breaker, I guess. I don't know. Though, or I guess deal maker. I don't know. Whatever. Though I do see some good use of this in the legendary arenas, especially. So you can spam it that way. It's helping your gauge go along, helping her do more damage more consistently. I can see good use of it here. And of course, it's combined with freeze chance here, so she's going to be very solid in the legendary arenas just naturally. Freeze, healing, like mostly because of this, and the consistent ability to have like gauge and stuff up. I think she's going to be good just for that. But a lot of units honestly releasing are, so not that crazy of a feat. Hit status conditioned opponent stat down 2. I like this if it wasn't tied to freeze. A lot of stages have resilience, so you're not constantly able to spam freeze. And the stages you can, like a legendary arena, I think, does the damage challenge have? You can spam status conditions in the damage challenge, obviously. So I mean, it's gonna be good for like it could be good in those type of modes, but also with the damage challenge specifically, it's like, why are you trying to debuff with this character? Maybe it can make a difference in some game mode or like some fight, but oftentimes I don't think you're gonna notice a major difference with this. Like for legendary arenas, it's good. Maybe some ultimate battles it can be good, but for a lot of the time of the fight, you're only gonna have them be frozen, and they're gonna be frozen for like one turn. So you're gonna get like one proc of this, and then they're unfrozen, which is good. I mean, it's good that she gets 4 uses of this move, and then a 50% chance on Ice Beam, kind of unconditionally, right? But again, at the same time, resilience. So it's gonna take you a long time to stack up those debuffs, and you're not going to see a lot of the massive effects of this as if this were just random, or not random, but like done every time she landed an attack. I think this would be a good tile to pick up if she did it just unconditionally every time she hit the enemy. That would be good. But alas, not the case. Team Underhanded heal 9, restoring HP of all allies whenever attacking enemies that are affected by a status condition. I like the healing, but again, it's got the same problem as this. Enemies that have resilience, you're going to get like 1 proc of this. Great, 7% healing. Like, it's the small things that make the difference for sure, but it would definitely have helped her out a ton if this was a lot more consistent. Though this is going to be good again, legendary arenas where you've got spammable status conditions in most of the stages, and you can also stack that on top of circle HP recovery, giving her a crap load of HP recovery. The first good tile, no, I mean the gauge is good, but these 2 tiles are very iffy to me. I think you're going to want to run this probably regardless, just for that extra few percentages of healing. But a special circle extension is a good thing to go for and actually pick up. You're gonna have 4 sets of it that way. That's gonna be giving you extra chances for the Ice Beam circle free moves next. It's gonna be giving you extra chances of having this activated. There's quite a few reasons you're gonna want to have Unova Special Circle up, right? So it is a good tile to pick up, especially for all the offensive enhancement and even some of the defensive enhancement buffs that comes with it. Also, on that same note, Trainer Sync Redemption. This is giving her extra uses of Unova Analysis, right? So now she's got 4 sets of it, plus the extension down here. She's also getting this. So you're getting another node of the HP recovery, gradual healing and stuff, and also the water rebuff as well. That's good to have. You're going to probably want to pick this up. She's going to obviously want to sync anyway, just to get... If you're running her an ice zone, or an ice team, to get that ice zone up, but also just because she's got that support EX, you're going to sync with her first, probably. And you'll be able to get extra uses of the Unova Analysis and extra team HP recovery. My thing, again, with this that I mentioned earlier is that how much damage are you taking that early in the fight? Like, some stages you definitely can. There are definitely like fights where you can take a lot of damage early, so having this, applying the gradual healing and all that's going to be good, but I always prefer the ability to use my potions and have the best uses of my potions whenever I actually like want to select to use them. So sadly, this doesn't stack. I wish passives like this would overcap and go like 3 out of 2 or 2 out of 1, stuff like that. But it's not the case. So sadly, we do have to use this before Iris's sync move in order to get the most effectiveness out of it. And so that may like screw you over later on when you actually would have needed that second heal a lot more. But again, it's good to have the extra usage of the heal to begin with. And again, circle as well. Unova, or user sets Unova circle, team special attack up. Most characters don't really need the buff, but it is there. Some characters do only do +4, and that can hurt them a little bit. I think Cena is one of them. She only does +4 on the train, not the trainer move. I think she does on entry. Yeah, special attack by 4 on entry, but she's also a character that you can pick up grand entry on. I don't remember if I actually do or not. I don't remember my Cena grid, but I mean, this can help alleviate that if you do run her with a character like that. Though a lot of the big options don't really struggle with that, like mostly Champion Red. I guess just Champion Red technically is the best option or biggest option. Unova Special Circle team moves up. Good support. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with this passive. This is good to have. Extra 20% support on top of the natural buffs you get with this, and all the special moves up next she's doing anyway. And then Unova's Analysis first trainer move Sync Countdown. This can be good when stacked with other Sync Countdown characters like Cena. I think Chantal can do a little bit of Sync Countdown. I don't really remember, though. No, I think I'm crazy. Yeah, no, she's not. But she does have Disruption, which kind of similarly acts as Sync Countdown, assuming you get it off right. But like Champion Red is a big one as well. He can do a little bit of Sync Countdown. So those characters that can kind of mesh with, and you can get a full cycle in that way, or you can use characters like, well, again, like Red, who can guarantee freeze, and get into stuff like that as well. I do think that at least for the Paseo Tower, one little silver lining is that Iris is going to be the best support specifically to enhance the damage of Champion Red. If we want to go there, I mean, I think that's going to be good. But again, same time, your third would be Eriott to maintain that Ice Zone. But again, once we get that EX Ice Zone setter, probably the Arc Suit and whatever, blah, 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 you're probably going to want to run Grusha. Just for, or at least, maybe both Iris and Grusha just get completely subbed out by a better Ice Zone setting support. Who knows? But for that point, I guess currently, right now, in the modern times, as of right now, and in shorter content, Iris might just be a better support to run with Champion Red than Grusha, because a lot more special enhancement than Grusha gives, and you don't have to worry as much about the Ice Zone, probably. Anyway, yeah, so you can mess with some Sync Countdown stuff that way. Not a crazy passive, but it is there. Overall, with Iris, what are my thoughts? I'm iffy on the character for sure. I think she's definitely not bad. You can definitely get good usage out of her and good mileage. And like, I could go ahead and pop her in some ultimate battles and she'll probably do fine. I don't really think she's going to struggle much to do relatively well. But I don't think she's a character that you should go for simply because there are options that you may already have that are as good or better or perform similarly, whatever, however you want to word it. Mostly these two, which it's ironic they are right beside each other. Grusha for an ice team, being able to set ice zone a lot more is going to make him far more valuable when we actually do get the EX ice zone setter, and probably the Arc Suit as well. And then Rosa for a general support, which also happens to be a Unova, has like some Unova focus to it. Rosa can do that kind of role as well. Again, Iris does have good abilities to her. She can do some good stuff with a lot of the moves up next enhancements. Some freezing as well is very, very solid. Team healing. This is some very, very good team healing. But also at the same time, it's only 2 uses of it, which in that case, potions do tend to just be better or be more valuable to pick up. But again, you can also see some good usage in it. She does have gradual healing as well, which is good. So again, while Iris can be a good character, a good option to pick up for whatever teams you want to run her on, she can definitely be effective. I don't think she's the best option for a lot of her teams, and I don't think she's an option that you should really be considering investing in gems, considering everything that's happening this month. Armine's amazing, Kieran's really amazing, the reruns of Florian and Juliana, especially with Florian, he's a massive character rerun, right? Also Select Scouts if you're a paid player and you're going to be doing those instead of wanting to invest in Iris. Other good options this month, also Anniversary being close. Just a lot of reasons to not really want to go for her. Again, I want to really iterate. This is a character who is not like laughably bad or laughably just don't go for. She's a character that is just more so in an unfortunate position of being directly outclassed by other characters that have already released before her. Otherwise, I think she would have been. I think if Grusha and Champion Rosa, which by the way, Champion Rosa didn't exist, I really want to see how that timeline would have gone. But if these 2 characters just didn't exist, Iris would certainly have a lot more of a niche. A lot more. Still would have glaring flaws, especially being only able to be. I don't know where my fucking head is right now. Only being able to set Ice Zone once, even if it is extended. But she would have been in a lot better position. But anyway, that's my thoughts. I'm gonna go ahead and end the video there. I'll see you later. Hope you all enjoyed. Peace.